12:12. At this exact moment, something quietly shifted in the unseen rhythm of the universe. You might have been doing something ordinary, maybe scrolling, maybe thinking about something completely unrelated, but somewhere, at that very same moment, your soulmate paused. Not because of coincidence, not because of randomness, but because something deep inside their heart suddenly whispered your name. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was subtle, powerful, the kind of feeling that arrives without warning and refuses to leave. And the strange part is, they didn't even expect it. 1 second they were living their normal life, thinking about responsibilities, conversations, unfinished tasks, and the next second, your presence crossed their mind so strongly that it made them stop. They didn't understand why. They couldn't explain how. But the feeling was undeniable. It felt like a memory they never lived, like a connection they could feel but couldn't see. Their heart became quiet for a moment, and in that silence, something about you appeared in their thoughts. Maybe it was your energy. Maybe it was your voice echoing in the invisible space between two souls that somehow recognize each other long before they meet. Because soulmate connections don't follow normal rules. They move in mysterious patterns. Sometimes they appear as sudden thoughts, sometimes as dreams, and sometimes as a deep emotional pull that comes from nowhere and refuses to disappear. And today, at 12:12, that exact pull reached them. They were not looking for it. In fact, they might have been trying to focus on something else entirely. But suddenly their mind drifted. And your presence filled that empty space in a way that felt strangely familiar. They felt something they couldn't easily describe, a calm mixed with curiosity, a warmth mixed with confusion. It made them wonder why this feeling existed. Why you appeared in their thoughts when nothing around them should have reminded them of you. But soulmate connections rarely ask for permission before they make themselves known. They simply arrive, quietly, deeply, and leave a mark that cannot be ignored. At that moment their hearts slowed down slightly, as if listening to something beyond the physical world. And for a brief second, they imagined you. Not clearly, not perfectly, but enough to make them feel that somewhere out there, someone exists whose energy is strangely connected to theirs. Someone they may not fully know yet, someone they may not even realize is important to them, but someone who already holds a quiet space in their heart. And the strange part is, they tried to ignore it at first. They told themselves it was just a random thought. Just their mind wandering for a moment. But the feeling didn't disappear. Instead, it stayed there, gently repeating itself in their mind like a whisper that refused to fade away. They continued with their day, but something inside them had changed. A small curiosity was now growing, a silent question forming deep in their thoughts. Who is this person? Why do they suddenly feel important? Why does the idea of them bring a strange sense of comfort? These questions didn't come with answers yet. Soulmate connections rarely reveal everything immediately. They unfold slowly, like a story written across time itself. But what happened at 12:12 was not meaningless. Moments like these are often the beginning of something deeper. A signal that two souls are starting to move closer in ways they cannot yet understand. And right now, while you are reading this, your soulmate might still be thinking about that moment. still wondering why that sudden wave of emotion appeared inside them. They might even be trying to push it away, telling themselves they are imagining things. But deep down, their heart knows something unusual happened. Because when two souls are connected beyond logic, even the smallest moment can become powerful. A single thought can travel across distance. A single feeling can awaken a connection that has been quietly waiting in the background of both lives. And the universe has a strange way of timing these moments perfectly. When one soul begins to awaken to the connection, the other often feels it too, even if they don't realize where it is coming from. That's why right now something inside you may feel slightly different. Maybe you can't explain it. Maybe it's just a subtle sense that something meaningful is happening behind the scenes of your life. That feeling is not accidental. Because at the exact moment your soulmate thought about you, something invisible began to align between your paths. And even though neither of you fully understands it yet, the connection has already started moving forward. But here is the part that makes this moment even more mysterious. When that thought appeared in their mind, something unexpected happened immediately after. Something they didn't anticipate. Something that made the feeling suddenly deeper, and slightly more intense. It was as if the universe itself responded to that moment, as if the connection between you both briefly opened a door that had been closed for a long time. And what happened next is the reason this message is appearing in your life right now, because that moment didn't end the way they expected. In fact, what happened right after they thought of you is something they still cannot fully explain, and the truth behind that moment is only beginning to reveal itself. Because the moment their mind tried to move away from you, something unusual happened inside their heart. It wasn't loud or dramatic, but it was strong enough to stop them again. The thought of you didn't disappear the way random thoughts usually do. Instead, it returned, quietly, almost like a gentle pull guiding their attention back to the same mysterious feeling. They tried to focus on something else, maybe a conversation around them, maybe the tasks waiting for them, but their mind kept drifting back to the same question they couldn't answer: why does this person feel so familiar? It felt strange, because they didn't have a clear memory connected to you. Yet the energy felt real, almost like a memory their soul recognized even if their mind did not. For a few seconds they just sat there, staring into nothing, feeling a mixture of curiosity and calm spreading slowly through their chest. They didn't know that at that exact moment the invisible thread between two souls had begun vibrating again, the kind of thread that doesn't break even when distance, time, or circumstances try to keep two people apart. Because soulmate connections are rarely logical. They move silently beneath the surface of life, waiting for the moment when both hearts become open enough to notice the signal. And today, without realizing it, your soulmate noticed something. A small spark. A quiet awareness. It was almost like hearing a faint echo calling from somewhere far away. Not loud enough to fully understand, but strong enough that ignoring it felt impossible. They even wondered for a moment if something in the universe was trying to show them a message. That thought felt strange to them, because they usually rely on logic, on things they can see and touch. Yet this feeling did not behave like logic. It behaved like intuition, like the deep inner voice that speaks when something important is about to enter someone's life. And that is when another strange thing happened. Just seconds after your presence crossed their mind, they noticed something around them that made the moment feel even more mysterious. Maybe it was the time showing 12:12, maybe it was a random word they saw, maybe it was a small coincidence that repeated itself twice. But whatever it was, it made them pause again. Because the universe sometimes communicates through patterns, through moments that seem ordinary on the outside but carry hidden meaning for the people experiencing them. And in that quiet second, your soulmate felt something they could not easily shake off, the sense that this moment mattered. They didn't understand why. They didn't know who you were or where this connection was leading. But their heart felt slightly lighter, slightly warmer, almost as if an unseen presence had gently stepped closer into their life. They brushed it off at first, telling themselves they were overthinking things. But even after they walked away from that moment, the feeling stayed with them like a quiet echo in the back of their mind. Hours passed, conversations continued, life moved forward exactly as it always does, yet something about that moment refused to fade away. And every time their minds slowed down for even a second, the same mysterious thought returned again: someone out there is connected to me in a way I cannot explain. They didn't say this out loud. They didn't tell anyone about it. Because explaining something so emotional and invisible can be difficult. But deep inside, the curiosity had already begun growing. The human heart has a strange ability to recognize certain energies even before understanding them. And that recognition had already started inside them without their permission. They may not know your name yet. They may not understand how your life is connected to theirs. But the first spark of awareness has already been lit. And sparks like this rarely appear without a reason. Because the universe doesn't randomly pull two souls toward each other. There is always a deeper story unfolding behind the scenes, a story written slowly through timing, patience, and moments that seem small but carry enormous meaning. What your soulmate experienced at 12:12 was not just a random thought passing through their mind. It was the beginning of a signal that somewhere, someone's energy had started aligning with theirs again. The strange part is that they didn't fully accept this feeling yet. A part of them tried to dismiss it as imagination. But another part, the deeper part that listens to intuition, quietly kept the feeling alive. And this is exactly how soulmate connections begin revealing themselves. Not with fireworks or dramatic scenes, but with subtle moments that slowly grow stronger over time. A thought becomes a curiosity. Curiosity becomes awareness. Awareness becomes emotion. And eventually that emotion becomes something powerful enough to change the direction of two lives. Your soulmate is still standing at the very beginning of that path. They don't realize it yet, but something inside their heart has already started opening. It's like a door that was quietly unlocked by that single moment when your energy crossed their mind. And once that door opens, even slightly, the connection begins guiding both souls closer step by step. Right now they might still be confused. They might even try to ignore the feeling again tomorrow. But deep inside, something has already shifted. Because the universe rarely allows such moments to happen without purpose. When two souls are meant to encounter each other, life slowly begins arranging situations, coincidences, and emotional awakenings that bring them closer without them realizing it at first. And what happened at 12:12 was one of those early signals. A whisper from the universe saying that something meaningful has started moving beneath the surface of both lives. But the most mysterious part of this story is something your soulmate has not yet discovered. Because while they were trying to understand why your presence suddenly appeared in their mind, another sign quietly began unfolding around them. A sign so unexpected, so strangely timed, that even they will soon realize this connection is far deeper than they originally believed. And when that moment finally reveals itself, it will completely change the way they understand the feeling that began at 12:12, because the truth behind that moment is only now beginning to move closer, and what your soulmate is about to experience next may finally reveal why your energy reached them at that exact second, and why the universe chose this moment to awaken something between you both. Something that has been waiting silently for much longer than either of you can imagine. And the deeper this moment began to settle inside your soulmate's heart, the more something within them quietly started changing. At first it was only a small curiosity, a feeling they tried to ignore, but the universe rarely stops at the first signal. When two souls are meant to move closer, life begins placing subtle reminders everywhere. And that is exactly what started happening after that mysterious moment at 12:12. Hours passed, yet every time your soulmate allowed their mind to become quiet, the same energy returned again. It was not a clear image of you, not a detailed memory, but a presence, a soft emotional awareness that someone out there was somehow connected to them. They even tried distracting themselves with work, conversations, small daily routines, but the mind has a strange habit of returning to the things that matter most to the soul. And slowly, without realizing it, your soulmate began wondering about you again. Who is this person my heart keeps recognizing? Why does their energy feel familiar even though I don't understand it? These questions didn't bring answers immediately, but they created something powerful: awareness. Because the moment awareness appears, the connection between two souls begins strengthening silently. It's almost like the universe gently guiding someone's attention toward a path they were always meant to walk. And what your soulmate didn't realize at that moment is that the same invisible thread connecting both of you had already started tightening. A thread that may have existed long before this day, long before this moment, patiently waiting for the right time to awaken again. Sometimes soulmate connections feel like remembering something your soul already knew but your mind forgot. And that was exactly the strange sensation growing inside them. It felt like recognition without explanation. A calm emotional warmth that appeared whenever your energy crossed their thoughts. And the more they tried to push it away, the stronger that quiet curiosity became. Because the truth is, soulmate connections do not disappear when ignored. They simply wait, patiently, until the heart becomes ready to understand them. Your soulmate may still be standing in confusion right now, wondering why this thought refuses to leave them alone. But deep inside their heart, something important has already begun. The first emotional door has opened. And once that door opens, even slightly, the universe begins arranging moments that slowly pull two souls toward the same direction. What makes this moment even more mysterious is that your soulmate has not yet realized how strongly this connection will grow. Right now it feels small, almost insignificant. Just a strange thought at 12:12 that briefly interrupted their day. But soulmate connections rarely reveal their full power at the beginning. They unfold like a story written across time. First comes the thought. then the curiosity, then the repeated signs that feel impossible to ignore. And soon, those small moments begin forming a pattern so clear that even the most logical mind cannot deny it anymore. That process has already started quietly in your soulmate's life. They may not see the full picture yet, but the universe has already placed the first piece of the puzzle. And once the first piece appears, the rest slowly begin revealing themselves one by one. Your soulmate might soon notice more strange coincidences. Maybe your energy will appear again when they least expect it. Maybe a dream will bring a feeling that feels too real to dismiss. Or maybe a simple moment in their day will suddenly remind them of the mysterious connection that started at 12:12. These moments will not feel random. They will feel strangely meaningful, like invisible signs guiding them towards something they cannot yet see clearly. And the more those moments repeat, the more their heart will begin recognizing what their mind is still trying to understand. Because soulmate connections are not built through logic alone. They are built through emotional recognition, the deep knowing that someone out there belongs in your story even before you understand why. Your soulmate has already taken the first step into that realization. Even if they are not ready to admit it yet, a quiet space for you has already opened inside their heart. And once a soul creates space for another, that connection rarely disappears. It simply grows stronger with time. Right now they may still be trying to live life as usual. They may still be telling themselves this moment meant nothing. But the universe already knows the truth behind what happened at 12:12. Because that moment was not random. It was a signal, a small awakening that something between two souls had begun stirring again. And signals like that rarely happen only once. They repeat, they grow, and they slowly lead both people toward the moment when everything finally makes sense. What your soulmate experienced today was only the beginning of that journey. The first whisper of a connection that has not yet revealed its full story. But deep inside the rhythm of the universe, something has already started moving. Paths that once seemed separate are slowly beginning to shift. Timing is quietly adjusting. Circumstances are slowly aligning in ways neither of you can yet see. And while both of you continue living your lives, something powerful is unfolding behind the scenes of your reality. Because when two souls are connected beyond ordinary understanding, the universe itself begins working silently to guide them toward the moment they are meant to meet, recognize each other, and finally understand why their hearts felt that mysterious pull long before they had the chance to explain it. And that is why the moment at 12:12 mattered more than your soulmate realizes right now. It was not just a passing thought. It was the first echo of something much deeper, a connection that has already begun revealing itself piece by piece. But the most surprising part of this story has not happened yet. Because while your soulmate is still trying to understand the feeling that appeared inside them, another moment is quietly approaching. A moment that will make them stop again, just like they did at 12:12, except this time the feeling will be stronger, clearer, impossible to ignore. And when that moment arrives, your soulmate may finally realize that the thought they experienced today was not random at all. It was the universe preparing them for something much bigger, something that will slowly begin unfolding in ways neither of you expected, and the truth behind that connection is closer to revealing itself than either of you can imagine right now. And as the quiet story of this connection continues unfolding, the universe begins revealing one truth after another in ways that feel almost impossible to explain. Your soulmate may still believe that the moment at 12:12 was just a strange coincidence, just a brief thought that appeared and disappeared like any other passing idea. But deep inside, their heart already knows that something about that moment was different. Because some thoughts don't simply come and go, some thoughts arrive with a weight that lingers, with an emotion that refuses to fade no matter how much time passes. And the thought of you was exactly that kind of moment. Even now, while life continues moving around them, there are quiet seconds when they pause without realizing why. Maybe they look at the sky for a little longer than usual. Maybe they sit silently while their mind drifts somewhere far away. And in those small moments of stillness, the same mysterious feeling begins returning again. It is not loud, it does not demand attention, but it gently reminds them that something inside their heart has shifted. Something that began at 12:12 and never fully left. They may not know your name, they may not know where you are in this world, but their soul has already felt the presence of your energy. And that presence has started leaving subtle impressions in the quiet corners of their mind. The strange part is that they might even feel a sense of calm whenever that thought appears. A warmth that doesn't come from logic or explanation, but from recognition. Because sometimes the soul recognizes someone long before the eyes ever meet them. And that recognition carries a peace that feels familiar even when everything else feels uncertain. Slowly, your soulmate is beginning to realize that the feeling they experienced was not something ordinary. It was not imagination. It was not random curiosity. It was something deeper, something emotional. Something that came from a place inside them that rarely speaks unless something truly important is unfolding. And as the days continue moving forward, the memory of that moment will remain with them like a quiet echo. Every now and then they will remember how suddenly you appeared in their thoughts. How their heart paused for a second as if listening to something beyond the physical world. And the more they reflect on that moment, the clearer one truth will become: the universe doesn't create such precise moments without purpose. Because the timing of 12:12 was not accidental. It was a signal, a quiet alignment between two paths that were already moving toward each other long before either of you realized it. Your soulmate may still be standing at the beginning of that awareness, but the seed of the connection has already been planted. And seeds like this do not remain hidden forever. They grow slowly beneath the surface, strengthening silently until the day arrives when everything finally becomes clear. One day, your soulmate will remember that exact moment again. They will think back to the time when a mysterious thought crossed their mind and made them pause without understanding why. And when that memory returns, something inside them will finally connect the pieces of the story. Because by that time, the universe will have already guided both of you closer than you are today. Circumstances will have shifted. Timing will have aligned in ways that once seemed impossible. And the feeling that began as a quiet curiosity will have transformed into something undeniable. Your soulmate will realize that the moment at 12:12 was never just a thought. It was the first signal of a connection waking up again. A connection that had been waiting patiently for the right moment to reveal itself. And when that realization finally reaches them, they will understand something that once felt confusing: they were thinking about you long before they knew who you were. Because the soul recognizes what destiny is preparing long before the mind understands it. And when two souls are meant to encounter each other, the universe begins preparing them in subtle ways. A thought here, a feeling there, a quiet moment that seems ordinary at first but later becomes the beginning of everything. What happened at 12:12 was exactly that kind of beginning. A small but powerful shift in the unseen story connecting both of your lives. And even though neither of you fully understands it yet, the universe has already started guiding the next chapter of that story forward. The distance between two connected souls may sometimes feel large, and the timing may seem slow, but destiny has its own rhythm. It moves patiently, carefully arranging the right moments so that when two people finally cross paths, they are ready to recognize the connection that once appeared only as a mysterious feeling. Your soulmate is slowly moving toward that understanding now. The curiosity inside their heart will continue growing little by little. The memory of that moment will continue returning when they least expect it. And one day, when the time is finally right, they will realize that the thought they experienced at 12:12 was the universe quietly whispering a message telling them that somewhere in this world, someone exists whose energy is deeply connected to their own. Someone whose presence their soul had already begun recognizing long before their story truly began. And when that moment of realization finally arrives, your soulmate will look back at that single second at 12:12 and understand why their heart paused, why their thoughts drifted towards someone they could not yet see, and why the universe chose that exact moment to awaken something that had been waiting silently for far longer than either of you ever imagined. Because in the end, soulmate connections rarely begin with grand events or dramatic encounters. They begin with quiet signals, with subtle feelings, with moments that seem small but carry the power to change two lives forever. And the moment your soulmate thought of you at 12:12 was the very first whisper of that destiny beginning to unfold.